These high school sweethearts were for sure not having it with each other anymore, bouncing from cheating to pathological liars, and now there's a baby involved. You can bet there's a lot of drama circled around these guys. The case began like this.
Miss Shands, you appear in court today because you are devastated that your first love and the person you lost your virginity to is now denying your 15-month-old son, Aiden. You say once you prove to the defendant that he is the father, you hope you two can finally be a family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
As you would imagine, Judge Lauren wasn't going to go easy on these guys. They looked like kids. You could feel in the tone of her voice that she couldn't wait to give these two high school sweethearts some spanking.
But claimed to know who did. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I've read through the court file, and this is a classic case of babies having babies. I'm gonna start with you, Ms. Shands. Tell the court, what do you want to accomplish today?
Today, I would like to accomplish that Amir is the father of my child. He has been in my baby life ever since my baby has been 3 months. He's my first love, my first kiss, my first everything.
Now, the love story between Mr. Hollis and Ms. Shands started when they were in middle school. Things seemed pretty sweet back then, but hold up, things took a twisted turn when he found out she was messing around with some of his friends. Oops.
Like it just after middle school, like after when we hit high school, everything was going straight like her freshman year. But after that, like when we had got into that one argument, we broke up, and then that was that. And she started messing with my homeboy, and she started messing with multiple people.
Your Honor, me and his was close friends once before.
They was, but they
used to come back and tell me that Mr. Amir, he was messing with one of my friends.
Mr. Hollis was no saint either. He was also messing about with some of her friends. Sneaky little teenagers, wouldn't you say? Ms. Shands said they weren't so smart at the time and didn't really know what they were doing because they were young. Well, Judge Lauren slammed her straight up, and trust me, she wasn't nice.
I don't know.
And we both were young at the time. We both were young. So
Both y'all young now?
yeah, we still are young. We still are young. But I thought it was cool to go mess with one of his friends because he had slept with one of mine. We both had made a mistake.
No.
We both made a mistake.
That's not how it is.
All right.
This is really what went on.
In no time, the courtroom turned into a kids' assembly with both Mr. Hollis and Ms. Shands chattering, "No, I didn't sleep with your best friend. No, he was my best friend. No, he wasn't your best friend." Judge Lauren was boiling like she was made of lava.
Be just out playing a sport, learning a craft. This just sounds about silly. So you have revenge sex with one of his friends. And did you use protection?
No.
And then how many times did you have sex with this friend of his?
Multiple times.
Multiple times. But were you also still being intimate with Mr. Hollis?
Well, we had
broke up. When me and his friend had an affair, we wasn't together.
Now, Ms. Shands finds out she's pregnant. Ain't no surprise there. She picks up her phone and beeps Mr. Hollis's friend. Ring, 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 I'm pregnant. Surprising thing, he was pretty excited about the baby. But here's the plot twist. She also tells Mr. Hollis she's pregnant too.
You find out you're pregnant. You tell the other guy first. What was his response?
Well, he was happy. He was happy.
And so you also tell Mr. Hollis?
I told him, like, not as soon as I got pregnant. He ended up finding out on the street. But I ended up telling him. I ended up telling him. And I guess he ended up telling his mom as well. And I was telling them that it's a possibility.
Fast forward to when the baby is born. Mr. Hollis is nowhere to be found. Not at the hospital, not anywhere. Guess who shows up? The best friend. Mr. Hollis then goes on to say he didn't even know she was pregnant or she went into labor. When he found out, she wouldn't let him be around her. I smell something fishy.
Miss Shands, when you give birth, who was with you?
The friend was with me when Aiden was born.
In the hospital?
In the hospital. In labor.
In labor.
And my mom, I sent my mom there because I knew there was a possibility that my son could be the dad as well. He favored my son when he was born.
So wait, and so Mr. Hollis, you just didn't want to be there or you felt like you weren't invited?
I wasn't never invited. Like anything I ever found out about the baby, I found out by myself. Like
Judge Lauren couldn't hide her irritation from these kids no more. It was turning into a reality show for kids, and the judge was not going to have any of that in her courtroom. Things just kept going from bad to worse.
Why are you now saying Mr. Hollis is the baby's father?
Because like my baby had more futures than him than the other guy.
Yes, he did.
He did not look nothing like the other guy at all.
I FaceTimed her and told her that it looked like I said, Aiden looks like Amir.
And what did she say, Mom?
It's a possibility.
After all the back and forth of kids giving birth to kids, the moment of truth is finally here. It's time we draw the curtains on these kids' funny behaviors and find out the truth. Take a seat back and focus your eyes on the judge.
Mr. Hollis, you are not the father. I see tears in your eyes, Miss Shands, because I know how desperately you wanted Mr. Hollis to be Aiden's biological father. Their families formed a bond with your son, but unfortunately now we know the truth. You're a beautiful young woman.
Every day cannot be Christmas, and if you happen to be a bad parent, someday you'll end up getting what you deserve. Mr. Little claimed he was tricked by Ms. Clifton into paying for child support because he felt he was the father of her twins, only to find out that another man was also paying for child support. The case began like this.
Now you say you are seeking the results of a paternity test to prove he's their father and to get him to pay up once again.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Little, you argue that when Miss Clifton's twins were 4 months old, you learned another man had claimed them as his own.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
you say she's all about the money?
Yes.
And she's not getting any more from you.
Correct, Your Honor.
At least we know she doesn't feel bad about having 2 men pay the bills for her twins. The question on everyone's mind is how they found themselves in such a situation. Did it start as a romantic relationship, or was it just a business in bed kind of thing? Well, Mr. Little gave his account of how they met.
Now, me and Ashanti, we met a few years ago, and we ended up spending a lot of time together as me being her personal mechanic.
Oh, a personal mechanic.
Yes, ma'am. She was looking for a vehicle, and I was helping her search for a good vehicle. So we spent a lot of time back and forth looking for cars.
So you really are a car mechanic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
I have to side with Judge Lauren on that one. What are the odds of that actually happening? Anyway, after Mr. Little gave his account of how he and Ms. Clifton got together, the judge asked Ms. Clifton to tell the court how she remembered the situation, and she began her story like this.
A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, I was looking for a vehicle. She told me, I know a place that you can go. The mechanic there, he's nice, good to look at. He'll probably work on your car for a little or nothing. He's supposed
When
to be
she
single.
said you need a good mechanic, didn't she mean just in your Rolodex, not in your bed?
Yes, in my Rolodex. But it takes 2. I didn't proposition him for sex. It takes 2. Now we engaged together.
Ow! Even Judge Lauren wasn't expecting that truth bomb. So, Mr. Little had a wife all along and was kicking it in bed with Ms. Clifton? Wow. Mr. Little tried to deny the situation, telling the judge that when they got together, he and his wife were separated, and they never had plans of getting back together. But there was more to the story.
My car worked on. I still kept him as my
No, Your Honor.
I still kept him as
No,
my
Your Honor.
noted and trusted mechanic because he's the only person that knows my car. Why would I
Your
go
Honor.
somewhere else? I can still pay you. I pay you for services, so I can still pay you
Your
for
Honor,
services.
Miss Clifton, she actually came by my job, then immediately she propositioned me for sex. Okay.
I
Wait
interject.
a minute.
I interject.
What happened now, Miss Clifton?
He had been working on my car. We separated for about 2 years.
Mr. Little is one bad man. Looks like he accepts payment in all kinds of ways, given the right circumstances. Moving on, Ms. Clifton finds out she's pregnant, and she immediately tells Mr. Little about the pregnancy. Surprisingly, he did not deny the baby. He claimed he trusted the fact that Ms. Clifton wouldn't lie to him about being pregnant.
She calls me, I think I'm pregnant. I didn't question her. I didn't say, is it mine or why you calling me? Immediately, because I've known her in the past and I know she's not the one to even play like that. So yes, I was like, okay, well she's pregnant, okay, cool, I guess we're having a kid.
At that point, you accepted
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you were the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you start doubting it?
I get a random text.
Let's just say Ms. Clifton ran out of luck trying to play the love triangle with 2 different men. Now, after Mr. Little found the text, he started to have doubts about being the father of the twins. The woman he trusted had lied to him, and now trusting anything she said felt like an impossible task.
Why would he think it would be a possibility? But you tell me they're mine, but you tell me, no, they're not his. But after I text you, you tell me, yes, he thinks it's a possibility. Why would he think that if you all hadn't been together previous before me and her?
So does this other man, does he know the children, have a relationship with them too?
He has a relationship with me, and he comes to see me. My kids
And
are
the
there.
kids, Your
My kids are always with me. I'm a real mom.
Take a chill pill, Ms. Clifton. I mean, she lied to him in the first place, so why is she acting like he's the villain? Judge Lauren noticed Ms. Clifton was trying to throw most of the blame on Mr. Little, and as you would expect, she was not going to entertain that in her courtroom. Judge Lauren gave Ms. Clifton a piece of her mind by saying this.
To use him, but to get some help from him, I might reach out to you, Judge, if we ain't got nothing. I'm gonna reach out to the game. If my kids need something, I'm reaching
And
out.
when you reach out to me,
It's a
you
yes
will
or
hear
no.
me say, don't have no kids you can't afford to take care of.
Absolutely.
Stop to be on social media to be on social media.
Well, Ms. Clifton got on the judge's nerves, that's for sure. After all the yapping from Ms. Clifton, Judge Lauren decided she wanted to hear from the witness she brought. Trust me, you could feel the anger and hatred she had towards Mr. Little.
Well, first of all, my daughter's self-sufficient. She's always worked and gone to school, and I'm very proud of her. Sam started out being a proud father, and I think jealousy raised his ugly head, which made him stop. You know, I taught my daughter to be self-sufficient, and if one won't, the other one will. When he stopped doing what he was gonna do, he left her and I to do what we are duty-bound to do, and that's raise them beautiful twins. And his old long head, his children.
I very much doubt these guys are going to get their case settled with all the yelling that's going on in the courtroom. The DNA results were in, and Judge Lauren was ready to reveal the identity of the father. Fingers crossed, people.
Mr. Little, you are not.
Not. God, I can't believe that. Are not? I thought for sure.
What are you thinking?
I don't know, because to be honest with you, I actually thought they were.
I do too.
To be honest with you.
Ms. Schwartz opened her case to prove to her longtime lover that he was the biological father of her child. Even though she admitted that he was right to have doubts, she still believed he was the father of her child. The lover, on the other hand, claimed the baby belonged to her husband, and there was no way he could be the father.
Ms. Schwartz, you opened your case to prove to the defendant that he fathered your 9-month-old child, Azalyn.
Yes.
You understand his doubt, but state he is her father. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Hatton, you claim you are not Azalyn's dad and are certain that her biological father is another man. And that man is the plaintiff's husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on. Did she just say they have 2 other children together? Oh, wow. Mr. Hatton, the defendant, wasn't going to sit there and just let her paint him like the bad guy. He cut Ms. Schwartz and told the judge about how messy her lifestyle was. Trust me, he had quite a lot to say.
Who makes almost $11 an hour, paid every 2 weeks, and only brings home $100? I mean, come on. I was born at night, just not last night.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Your Honor, I mean, I don't believe I'm the dad. I do question the way that she lives her life. I mean, it's reckless.
Reckless?
Yes.
If I were in that courtroom, I'd have the same reaction as Judge Lauren. Now, when Ms. Schwartz got pregnant, her relationship with Mr. Hatton wasn't particularly a bed of roses from what he could remember. He claimed they were always fighting and Ms. Schwartz would disappear after every fight.
What was the nature of your relationship?
Okay, the nature of our relationship wasn't good. Okay, it was bad, it was rough, it was rocky roads. We were fighting every day. I could say something and then she's gone. That's what she.
So how long was she gone when she'd leave the house?
Like 2 weeks at a time.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Congratulations, he definitely doesn't want to be the father of this child. When Ms. Schwartz was ready to give birth to her child, she wanted Mr. Hatton to be by her side throughout the entire process. But Mr. Hatton didn't have the stomach to be in the theater with her.
Azalyn was born the day she was born.
Man, she wanted me to look between her legs and pull the baby out. I ain't no doctor. I sure ain't name her.
He didn't want to witness none of it. You were saying you didn't want to see that. And there are a lot of dads that can't see all that.
Because how my daddy raised me, no, there's things for a man to see in this world, and there's things that a man shouldn't see, and that's one of them.
Now that is just messed up, Ms. Schwartz. Naming your child after the 2 men she was sleeping with, that's another level of crazy. One thing Mr. Hatton made certain was that he was not the child's father. In his words, he claimed he was more of a caretaker than a father to the baby.
So listen, let's use respectful language. Mr. Hatton, I want to ask you this. So you believe Ms. Schwartz's husband is Azalyn's biological father?
With all due respect, it's not a matter of believing. I know he is.
And so how do you know?
Because, I mean, come on. I mean, you don't just go stay the night at people's houses when you're married, lay in the same bed and not do nothing.
Judge Lauren was tired of listening to Ms. Schwartz and Mr. Hatton go back and forth about who was telling the truth and who was lying. She decided it was time to hear from Ms. Schwartz's husband. When he walked into the courtroom, this was what he had to say to the judge. Trust me, you aren't ready for what he is about to say.
She told me she was cheating on me, and I let her go.
And I was also calling him on the phone right in front of you.
Yeah, and you guys even got into an argument one night, and I picked the phone up, called Hatton back, and talked you guys through it. I even took you the 250 miles to him.
So isn't this a love triangle like we ain't never seen before?
This has to be the craziest love triangle to ever exist in Judge Lauren's courtroom. Anyway, it's time the drama came to an end. Now, it's time to determine who the real father of the child is. This was the verdict the judge gave.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Hatton or Mr. Schwartz is the father of 9-month-old Azalyn Hatton, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Hatton.
We've got a family feud going on here between Miss Smith and Miss Backus, and it all centers around one man, Mr. Wooten. Apparently, Miss Backus claims Mr. Wooten is her dad, but Miss Smith and the rest of the Wooten clan say he's not. And get this, Mr. Wooten could be on the hook for over $92,000 in child support for a kid that might not even be his.
Miss Smith, you and your father, Mr. Wooten, are suing to prove Miss Backus is not his biological daughter. You say your dad owes more than $92,000 in back child support for a child who isn't his and is on the verge of losing everything because his income is being garnished by 50% each month.
Miss Smith says her dad, Mr. Wooten, got tricked by Miss Backus's mom way back when. Apparently, they only dated for 4 months. But then Miss Backus's mom said she was pregnant. And get this, when Miss Backus's mom wanted to get back together later on, Mr. Wooten says she told him the second kid wasn't his either.
That they began to garnish half of his wages. So up until the point that they started garnishing his wages, it was going into arrears, drawing interest, and now is over $92,606.06.
If that's the case, then he should have showed up when I showed up and when they took blood from me just to have the test. He should have showed up for the test and we wouldn't be here today.
Now, Miss Backus is telling a different story. She says her and Mr. Wooten were together for a whole year, not just 4 months. And she's got a picture to prove it. A family photo with her, Mr. Wooten, and Miss Smith all together.
And I ain't never stopped loving my father, and I ain't never stopped loving my sister, even if they don't claim me. But they gonna learn today. They gonna learn today.
Your Honor, my father never received any paperwork requesting his presence to have a DNA test done. He was not requested to come to court to prove that he was not her father.
My father knows I'm his child.
And it gets even more complicated when Miss Backus pulls out her birth certificate. Turns out, Mr. Wooten's name is handwritten on there, which Miss Backus says is because he wasn't there when she was born. But Miss Smith is calling foul, saying her mom probably just wrote it in because she knew Mr. Wooten was the dad.
Your mother, when I met your mother 3 weeks into knowing her, she wanted to know why.
She told me y'all was together a whole year and then I was born a year later.
Alondra, please.
Man, Daddy, I can't. I'm not even feeling nothing that y'all saying right now. That's why I brought y'all here and we finna find out the truth. Cause you and Cece will apologize to me and my mother today.
I do not owe you an
You're
apology.
not gonna
Yeah, you are. You gonna see one.
No,
you gonna see one.
But the real kicker is when Miss Backus starts talking about how she's been there for Mr. Wooten, helping him out with medical bills and stuff. She's even calling him Daddy and saying she's his keeper. Ooh, that's got a sting for Miss Smith, who's been trying to keep Mr. Wooten away from Miss Backus this whole time.
One way or another, whether she actually was my father's child, because Miss Backus' mother has a long history with our family of being extremely deceitful, lying constantly.
My mom can be messy at times because she is real dramatic, but I know she know who
Okay,
she
Miss
messing with.
Backus.
I'm tired of the rumors. Her kid found me on Facebook a couple years ago.
And just when you think things couldn't get any more heated, Miss Smith drops a bomb. She says she remembers seeing all kinds of random men coming in and out of her house when her dad was at work, and she's convinced her mom was cheating on Mr. Wooten. Miss Backus tries to defend her mom, but you can tell she's starting to get a little flustered.
This is a Facebook post.
That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud. I keep my father and brother on point, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother at all. Not only did my granny say that.
By this point, the judge has clearly had enough of all the back and forth. She's ready to get to the bottom of this paternity mystery once and for all. The DNA test results are in, and the judge is about to reveal whether Mr. Wooten is Miss Backus's dad or not.
Mr. Wooten Jr., you are not her father. I know this was not the answer you were expecting.
No, it wasn't, but I had to do it. I had to do it.
Yes, you did.
I was tired of the rumors. I was tired of being treated. So now I know why I got treated like I am, and I'm good. I wanna apologize to the Wooten Pryor Clayton family.